Before we put new strings on the racket, we need to cut out the old strings. Now when cutting out the old strings, the most important part is to keep the pressure as even as possible. In other words, we don't want to cut out just the main strings or just the cross strings or just one side of the racket. We need to cut out the strings in a way that keeps the pressure as even as possible. One good way to do that is just to start in the middle of the racket string bed and cut either a main or a cross. So once you cut that center string, you can work your way around the racket in a circular motion, cutting out main and then cross, main and then cross, and work your way to the outside of the racket. Sometimes I'll cut one or two. That's not going to do any damage to the frame as long as we don't cut several in one direction, because that will make the pressure uneven. So just work your way around in a circular fashion until you get to the end of every main and every cross, and then it's been cut. Make sure to cut the string in the middle of the string to keep the pressure as even as possible. After every string's been cut, we can now pull out the strings. Sometimes you have to push out the old strings and just pull them out, but it should be a pretty simple process pulling out the old strings. Where the knot's been tied, we're going to have to pull from inside of the frame, because obviously you can't pull the knot straight out. Sometimes you may have to cut the knot, but usually you can just pull out the knot just very simply. So once those strings have been cut out and the frame's in good condition, we are ready to mount the frame.